Welcome, Mustang fans. It's another special edition of the Mustang Owners Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. And when I say special edition, that's because we are here recording the live town hall at the fantastic Carlisle Ford Nationals. We have a live audience today, and there's going to be a special way of doing things at the town hall. For everyone here today that comes up to the microphone, it's Ask Us Anything. Share a story. All we're asking you is, when you say your name, your hometown, maybe your club affiliation, Mike, and then what happens after that is all up to you. If you have a great question, you win a free prize, and we're going to be able to hand those out today. You walk out of here with that. You know, so whether you know me from the Auto Week magazine days or Ford Special Vehicle Team or Ford Racing or even now Ford Performance, or you know Mike from Team Mustang or Roush or Celine or the Mustang Owners Club of Southeast Michigan, we want to know your Mustang story, and that's why we hope we have a lot of Mustang Owner Podcast fans here today. For everyone in the audience who is wearing a Mustang Owners Podcast piece of apparel, you get a free prize as well. You come up and see Kimmy, and you'll get one for that. So we're going to get things kicked off. Mike, I think the questions could be just about anything. Does it have to be Mustang related, or can be the story?
Well, yeah, it is the Mustang Owners Podcast, so we definitely want it Mustang related. But the first question we have for all of you, how many in here are not subscribed yet to the Mustang Owners Podcast?
Oh, now you got something to do tonight at the
So
hotel
y'all
room.
got homework leaving here right now. They're passing out a card right now. All the info's on it. You can scan the QR code with your phone. And please subscribe to us and support us. And let's just keep growing this thing, because we are the #1 ranked Mustang podcast in the world. 3 years running now, and we want to keep continuing that to grow and continuing to provide you with the great guests and then footage from the events that we attend, such as Carlisle.
Right. So everyone seated today, we have Ford Performance's new clubs and enthusiasts or community engagement specialist. Hannah Evans is here. Hannah, say hi. Wave. Hannah will be giving you. Thank you, Hannah. She is going to be looking at clubs and community engagement, so we want to have a really good experience for her. She'll be giving you your Ford Performance wristband. Ben is out there handing out your Mustang Owners Podcast reminder card, as well as a special deal that Ford Performance and the podcast was able to get for you on the new Ford history book called the Archives Collection. Mike, what a deal you were able to get from the publisher. $100 off of the regular $300 collector set is available to you with a special code, so take that card home. If you know somebody, Mike, who they think they have everything, not that.
Yeah, it is definitely the coffee table book you want. It's the best Ford coffee table book that there is. A lot of emblems in there, replicated pamphlets in there, the brochures, a lot of good stories that you haven't seen, and photos that you've never seen too that were pulled from Ford Archives.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you something special. $100 off is great, but they've been a good sponsor of the podcast, and they're really giving us a good boost. I hope you guys all are able to take advantage of that big discount. So now for Mike, let's get this podcast started. We will take any question. There's a microphone right there in the center. You can walk right up. Your name, your club affiliation. If you have a story or a question, give it to us. And if it's a great question, you will win a free prize today. If it's a bad question, we'll have Ben escort you from the tent. And if one more person comes up and tells me their Chevelle story with a SS396, I think we can have two people escort them out, right, Mike?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Who wants to be first on our Mustang Owners Podcast? Why don't you come up, name, rank, and serial number, and share your question. Thank you.
My name is James Patrick. I'm from Martinsville, Virginia. A member of the Blue Ridge Mustang and Ford clubs there. Just have a question about where do you see the Mustang 2 stuff going in the future? I know it's starting to come back a little bit, but do you see it growing anymore?
It's a good question, Mike. So everybody who follows the hobby, you know, this guy here has got a Fox body, so he's kind of smiling all the time because right now the collector bubble has hit Fox body. And you'll see with the reveal today here, what is it, Mike? Just in an hour, we have a reveal. The Fox body's
Ford's
pushing,
unveiling their new one today.
yeah, well, they're pushing the collector market. So Mustang 2, we had our bubble about 5 years ago. People blame me for promoting it too much and driving the prices up, but the prices are very high still, highly collectible. The parts people came in for a while, But I think we're at that point now where we're pretty much maxed out as the collector bubble moves through. And for you guys who have an SN95, you're next. But
Yeah.
Mike, how long
Yeah.
is this Fox Body thing going to run?
Yeah, the Fox Body has really taken off. If you're looking at these 93 Cobras, if you guys have been watching Meekum and Barrett Jackson, they're just going through the roof. They're hitting six figures. It's absolutely incredible because the Fox Body used to be the entry-level car that people get into the hobby. That's now adjusted to the SN95 and the S197s.
Okay, so now you can pick your prize. That was a good question. Either you're a big Ford Performance fan or you get a water bottle. All right, who's up next? Who wants to ask the next question? Why don't you come on over here to the microphone and make sure we can hear you, your name, if you're club affiliated, and any question or thing, ask us anything.
Name is Joe Iranti. I am a member of several clubs, one being Moxum, Mid-Michigan Mustang Club, MCA, Mach 1 Registry, just about everything. Question is, how can we crack the code? How can we get the younger generation involved in this, being enthusiasts? Like most of us in this room are, a little bit older, but, I'm looking at, the late teens and up to maybe 40. That's really, where we're real lacking in order to make this, thing, go on and on.
Great question, Mr. Arante. Mike, you started something about, 8-10 years ago to get that ball rolling, and it's called the Midwest Club Summit. It's a great seminar, if you will. And yesterday, if people came to our club mixer, I think some of you may have showed up to the club mixer for the free pizza. I hope that wasn't the reason. But we did discuss some of the best practices to get young people involved in the hobby. Mike, some of the stuff that we shared, I think they could use immediately.
Yeah, and that's the number one asked question with us always. From being a club leader and then hosting that summit where we meet with other club leaders, that's the number one question that's always asked. And John made a really good point yesterday. We're trying to get them involved, but where does it start too? It starts with the parents, right? You got to get them involved in the hobby while they're young so they start having some interest in it, and then for them to do on their own. What we've done personally as a club, we have a young adult section at our show. We discount the price, give them a different goodie bag, and we don't give them the goodie bag like we normally give the people as they're on their way in. We make them walk the show to go get their goodie bag so that they actually can experience the show. So a lot of the young guys just like to come in and park and then just stay for 2 hours and then leave. The younger crew does not like to sit on the blacktop for 6 to 8 hours. But if you do that, you create a little puzzle for them. They get to experience stuff that they normally wouldn't have got up and walked around to go see. So that's been pretty successful for us as one of the points.
Yeah, and if you're a club and you want to have all the insider information we shared yesterday at the club mixer for your club group, all the ideas that are working elsewhere in the country to get young people involved, send a note to clubhub@ford.com and we can arrange a Zoom meeting with your club or your board and give you all that information, because that's what Club Hub and Club Connect is for, to help your club grow, especially for the young folks. So if you see a kid out there, I know Bart Bartsovich is here from the ITC. Bart has a guy in his club that opens the door of a beautiful Thunderbird, lets a kid sit inside and gives them a free Hot Wheels. And get them started young, because when you become a young Ford fan, you grow up to be a collector, right?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Who's up for the next question? Why don't you get up there, sir? I hope it's not just to be on TV, but you want to win the prize. That's okay. You got it. Go ahead.
So I'm Ben Maurer. I'm from Lebanon, PA, about an hour here from Carlisle. I'm going to share my Mustang into truck story.
Awesome.
I got onto Ford because of the 2000 Cobra R when I was in high school. That has evolved into something that has gotten much bigger. I own two very unique trucks. Both of them are sitting here in the show field. I have a 1986 Ford C7000 tilt cab. It has 23,000 original miles. It is original paint. It's my preservation project. It's a labor of love. I'm a truck driver, so I'm kind of passionate towards the heavy truck side of things. But the way I got that truck was because of what I tow with it. I actually built a 2016 F-250 that is a one of one in my driveway. Ford ceased making manuals in the Super Duty platform in 2010. I own a 2016 with a 7.3 Power Stroke and a ZF6 manual under the hood. And when the hood's shut and the engine's off, no one knows.
Well, we have to tell you, that's for all of you Mustang people out there, understand that we're the last car in market for Ford. And a lot of people see these clubs here and they go, well, they can't buy a new T-Bird, they can't buy a new Galaxy, but they're towing their cars here, and we're hoping they have the right truck, an F-250, F-350, F-150, and they don't have something with Brand X on the outside, because that's the beauty of the Mustang world, is the Ford truck system. It keeps these cars rolling all over the country. So we appreciate that story.
And Mustang is the #1 modified car in the world, so, and I don't see that changing anytime soon
No,
either.
and SEMA can back that up, but those numbers are around, and you can just tell all the suppliers that that hobby's not going anywhere. And how you get there is you pull it on, especially on your cool hauler. Very good. Anybody who's up next now for a question? Oh, here, this is going to be a tough one. I can tell, Mike.
Hey, John. How are you? Hi, Mike.
Hi.
I'm Kim Teed. I'm from California, New Jersey. I am an independent. Let's just say that.
Independent?
My question is, 429 is associated to NASCAR. 302 is Larry Shinoda. Who did the 351s? And Carol Shelby. 351s, that's what we have. We are the stepchild. I can't even buy a T-shirt that says a Boss 351. I go up to these vendors. I have to make one. My husband has one on that I made. What's the deal? We don't get any respect as 351 owners.
You know, I don't know that, John, you can fact check this, but I believe at the time when the Boss 351 and the Big Horse, when they made that was the fastest Mustang ever produced, if I remember
Absolutely.
correct.
But I said, I can't buy a T-shirt.
So you're Rodney Dangerfield, and
I
you
am.
Boss 351 owners out there. First of all, let me say this. If you have a Boss 351, bless your soul, you have one of the coolest Mustangs ever made.
Damn right.
When I was at Auto Week, that thing, I know that 1 year was special, but driving the other Bosses, the 302s you can't see out of, and it damn near blew my kneecap off, and those are hard cars to drive, but the 351 was really a special car to drive. Congratulations for that.
And they're rare to see.
So you can't get up there. I don't want her to. I appreciate your dilemma with the Boss 351, especially for merchandise, but you can't get up there and talk to me about being disrespected because I own a Cobra 2. Okay, so
He's been disrespected his whole entire Mustang career.
I married the car. I didn't,
I tried to get a license plate that, because it's a Cobra, was disrespected. Because when you pull into a car show, you probably get, top billing. It's a beautiful car, and
He does.
yeah. When I pull into a car show, they go, "Oh, you can park by the dumpster over there, next to the Edsels." Yeah. No. So I would say this: there's a lot of suppliers for Ford. We have niche suppliers for Ford Performance, and when you have a request like that, send a note to clubhub@ford.com. We know people like Matt Lever in licensing. We know people that can push the button there, and it's all a business case because you're so rare. They're not going to sell a whole lot of shirts.
I know.
Yeah, but at the same time, 351s. There's a market for that.
Who would you say was responsible? Like I said, you've got Carcraft, and it was what, 420 NASCAR. Carol Shelby's. Who started?
Who can be
this?
the yeah?
Who would you associate with that?
Well, right, there's a lot of the Cobra replica cars. They do 351s in them, and there's going to be a champion. But send a note, and I will send that off to licensing and to see if they can, help you out on that, and we'll get
get
maybe
your
something, even if it's something special just for your clubs, and we'll put it out there. And
Do you have a Boss 351 club?
We do. I'm not doing that.
Well, there you go.
I'm not starting
More
that.
homework for you.
Oh my God.
okay.
But yeah. So.
All right, so
I just
everyone in the
Googled it.
room who wants to help her out, buy a
Okay,
Boss
here's a
351 shirt.
I think she was talking about, are you asking like who was responsible for creating that? It was just a Ford motor. Is that what you're talking
No,
about? Yeah.
what happened with? why the 351 came out was because, as you know, when the 302 came out in the Mustang, we were playing catch up with the muscle car era. You know, we were up against Camaros with 396s and 350s, and we had a 302. 50 cubic inches is a lot. So it was very simple with a higher deck height on the small block Ford to go with 351, different intake, to get that cubic inches that you need for the extra power. And so it was just a matter of not a difficult engineering feat to get a 302 small block Ford into a 351. The idea was just we needed more cubes to go up against the competition, and it was that mid part between the 351 Windsor and the 351 Cleveland until we got the big blocks out. That was the stopgap, and it was real easy to. It was strictly for the muscle car era, though. It was not. It's a muscle car. It's a street car guy's engine. It wasn't that racing engine that they championed because they went straight to big blocks. But yeah, there was a reason for 351s, and that's to compete. Okay, thank you. That was a good one. That was a good one. Okay, sir, come on. The next question on the Mustang Owners Podcast, live here from the Carlisle Ford Nationals 2025. Go ahead.
I'll just do a quick follow-up from my wife. The Boss 351, we are having a convention in Moline, Illinois in July, where you'll see Boss 429s, 302s, 351 Cobra Jet cars. We've kind of taken this on as an independent thing. You know, we don't really have a lot of, backing from Ford or anybody else, but it would just, it's a cool show to go to. It's all indoors, so you don't have to worry about the weather. But I just have a quick story. What I do is, as you know, I've got a Boss 351. It was one of the featured cars last year. I take this car to a lot of car shows. And honestly, I have trophies and plaques and this and that. And, if I bring one more T-shirt home, my wife's going to kill me, okay? But what I do is, if there's, a Mustang or a Camaro or a Mopar or something like that, and it's primer and you can tell it's a work in progress, what I'll do is someone will come up and say, hey, you're going to get first place or second place or whatever. I'll say, I please don't. Give it to the kid over there, that's parked, that's got the, the primer Mustang or is working on this or working on that. You got to keep these kids, enthusiastic about the project, because sometimes, you start something, you don't finish it. As everybody knows, it sits in the garage for how many years? But that's what I do. I'd like to see somebody young who's getting into the hobby, give them a reason to continue. That's my
Let's
story.
give a hand for that. That's a great move. No, I'm not sure that he does that to help youth in Mustang marketing, or he's doing that because he has no more room in his garage for another plaque. Okay, great. That's worthy of a great prize. Okay. Oh, I know this guy. If you read Mustang Times magazine, you may see stories written by Bundle Bill. Bill, I know you're covering for Donald Farr.
Yes.
What's your question today?
Well, to start with, I want y'all to know I've been a Mustang owner for 55 years, and I get them and I keep them. I have 3 right now. And I have a 351 Cleveland and a 70 Mach 1 that I'm always doing stuff to. So with you guys, I'm a member of just about every club out there, including the one from Michigan. And I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. So it's 26 years in a row driving up here. I have a 14 Shelby GT500. It has 15,000 miles just driving to Carlisle on the car. So yeah, I'm a dedicated fan. My question is, what makes yours and Mike's podcast unique in reference to the other Mustang podcasts?
Yeah, Mike, we appeared on a lot of podcasts. Thank you for that, Bill. We were on a lot of podcasts before we started the podcast. And I don't know, we just realized, hey, wait a minute, we've listened to some of them, and the stories we can get, we know so many of you, your owner stories, we just thought we could bring more stories to the forefront rather than just be celebrities, although we like having celebrities.
Yeah, the
why
thing
do we
I
do
think with
that?
me and John, if any of you guys know us, there's nothing scripted. So a lot of podcasts are scripted and things like that. Me and John are off the cuff no matter where it is. Give us the microphone, we'll talk to you for 2 hours and tell you whatever it is.
Wait a minute.
But we are fortunate from over the years of all the networking that he's done and that I've done that we've culminated it together, and we can get special guests that a lot of people can't get or they have no way to contact. The John Colettis, we just had Christy Lee on last week. These are just relationships that we built over the years that they want to help us out, and we bring the stories that a lot of other people can't get. So I think that's taken us to the top because, and the way they talk to us back, I think you'll notice that it's more of a relationship and a friendship than just somebody we're interviewing, randomly or generically.
I appreciate that because what we're trying to do with the Mustang Owners Podcast is bring your story to light. And we've had Henry Ford III on. We're going to have Hannah Evans on, so it's not a Ford thing. It's your story as well. We've had the owner of a Skyway Mustang, and some people called us and said, "What's a Skyway Mustang?"
That was a great episode.
Never heard of it. And those owner stories.
How many here don't know about the Skyway Mustang?
Anybody know what a Skyway Mustang is? You see what I mean? The rest of you need to listen to the podcast. But that's why we want to bring your story. You own some phenomenal cars. It's not our stories. It's not our relationships. It's your stories that we love to share. So, Bill, that's the only reason we got into it. And now, boy, we're in it for almost 200 episodes. And the number one rating is because of you. When you listen to us, I know a guy that listened to us all the way on the drive down to Carlisle.
Yeah, we've been hearing that a lot, that a lot of people listen to us all the way down here, and they're going to be listening on the way home, which really, really makes it cool. And to see people, Mr. Earp over there has his shirt on, the apparel. It's nice seeing people with the apparel and everything on, supporting us.
Wait a minute, you have a Mustang Owners Podcast shirt? Kimmy, he gets a special cooler. Yeah, this is for your Dr. Pepper and your cold ham sandwich from the...
But, Bill, too, also is that, a lot of the guys within Ford and a lot of the, the heroes, as we call them, the head designers, the vice presidents of past, brand managers, chief engineers, all those guys are personal friends of ours, not just acquaintances. So they're happy to do it, and we get to bring them because they're not normally on those kind of things. So I think that's what makes us stick out from the rest.
Yeah, we told them flat out, if you want to entice you listeners to tell us that's your favorite story when you worked at Ford or when you whatever your restoration story is, tell us that special part. Even Christy Lee, she's been on TV for 10, 15 years. She's been on the Gulls Girls Garage. We weren't going to do the typical interview. No one's ever asked her. I think she's a Mopar person anyway.
Yeah.
But what is your favorite Mustang? We're the only podcast that asked her that. And she gave us, I'm kind of surprised, but she told us a very surprising answer. So we're in it for you. It's another way for us to connect with you and the community and to get your story out there. Because what makes this whole Mustang world different than everybody else?
We say
everybody has a Mustang story.
Right here.
That's our motto, and we want to hear yours. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, John. Thank you,
got
Mike.
All right, who's up next? By that was a tough one. Oh, you need a fan? Okay.
We'll get you one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Larry Atherton. I live in Mercersburg, Pennsylvania. It's not too far down the road. But I've owned Fords all my life. I guess I didn't know any better. I don't know. But I had a couple of 69 Mach 1s. One was 351 Windsor, 4-barrel, 4-speed. 390 Hypo with 4-speed. Got rid of them, got a 78 Cobra 2 brand new.
He gets a special
one in his
prize.
heart.
Yeah.
Bought it brand new, and everybody said he was under power, but I beat a lot of cars with that car.
Yeah, 5.0's a 5.0, baby.
Yeah, and I ran the guts out of the Mach 1s, never blowed an engine or tore transmission out or nothing. And I ran them hard. And everybody said them Cobra 2s, I read different articles in magazines where it was a stripe kit and emblems, but no go. It wasn't considered a Cobra at all.
Right.
When I bought it as a Cobra, they sold it to me as a Cobra, but then they don't want to recognize it as being one. But I still got I got a King Cobra, a silver one with red interior. I got several Cobra 2s. I got an 80 Cobra. I got different Mustangs and new pickup truck. But yeah, I bought Fords all my life. And I got a little Festiva I drive. I bought it new.
Awesome.
I drive it every day, and I'm disappointed they quit making them.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a Focus I run. It was bought new. But I like little cars, but now you got to go to foreign cars because Ford don't make any.
Yeah, it's an issue, and I think the company is looking at entry-level product is a key driver of young, making a new enthusiast for the brand. And Maverick was going to be that at one point, and so they're always looking at opportunities. I think you'll see a shift coming as I just did a column in Mustang Times. If we reach truck peak, a lot of people are talking about it. If that's the case and driving more sedan purchases, Ford will get back into market with something like that. But to your point, Mike.
Well, I thought when he said all those Mustang 2, I thought you were going to say, are we just become best friends?
No. So the rest of you, please don't leave because I'm going to mention Mustang 2s again. But I wrote a Mustang book back in '06. Why would I do that? I have 200 Mustang books. I had 100 of them at home. My wife thought I was crazy, but I had 100 of them in my office at Ford Racing. The last thing in the world I wanted to do was write a book. But there are so many things about Mustang. Every generation of Mustang has a very big secret at Ford, and as a journalist, I was never able to find it out. I would go talk to a retiree. You know what they'd say to me? No comment. That means there's a story.
Yeah, no.
So was it true that the first Mustang that Lee Iacocca, Hal Sperlich, and Don Fry actually fudged marketing numbers to Henry II to get the funding for the original Mustang? Was that true? I couldn't get an answer until I got to know Gail Halderman and Hal Sperlich and got the real answer. Then Mustang 2s? Oh, it's a Pinto. Obviously, you don't know anything about Mustangs. It's not. And that Cobra was actually blessed. That name, Cobra 2, was blessed by Carroll Shelby. And, if you know you have a real Cobra 2, it'll be on the rad tag with a CB or a King's KC for King Cobra. So those people out there that don't consider it a real Cobra, that's because they're mad at the era. They're mad at the Malaise era. They're all mad because we lost horsepower. People didn't care about how HPs. They wanted MPGs back then. And the Mustang 2 was the second best-selling Mustang in history when it came out. It was car of the year.
Yeah.
Now, can we help it that Edsel Ford II struck a deal with a company to make a Cobra 2 version? They were going to make 2,500 cars and sell them as a niche product. Can we help it that he gave it to ABC and Farrah Fawcett Majors drove it in Charlie's Angels on Thursday nights with 60 million people watching? We can't help it. And guess what? Etzel's idea, 2,500 cars. No, 25,000 were ordered. So guess what? Ford Motor Company's in the business of selling cars that people love and buy. And they did that then, and today we should cherish all those. So I wrote all those myths about Mustang. Is it true we were going to become a front-wheel drive Japanese car built in Flat Rock? Yes, that was true. Who was the man at Ford that stopped that? Is it true that the SN95 wasn't going to be continued and we were going to end it there? Yes. S197, how did that all come about? Two guys had to make that car happen. And look what it did to the hobby. The S550 story. How many people have seen the movie A Faster Horse? Great. What are the rest of you doing? Watching 90 Day Fiancé again. Stop doing that. It's on Netflix. That's not the Dave Parasak story, but it's damn close. It shows you the passion at the company to remake a Mustang. You know how much challenge that is, right, Mike?
It was a great movie, and
they filmed
we cannot do. Yeah, they filmed me for 13 hours. I was in it for 13 seconds. But the funny thing is with John had a lot of appearances in there, and one of his spots where his clock is going off.
I had the Mustang clock that makes the motors at Ford Racing. Well, it went off in the middle of the filming in my office.
And the car that was going off was actually the exhaust of my car, so it was kind of cool on that too. But it takes you behind the scenes of launching a car, what it was, and it was just a great experience. And you get to see Dave Parasak and his team how they launched that car. But John was in it an awful lot, and Gail Halderman went down to the 50th with John and to go all that. But the best famous line of it all, they were walking out of the theater after the private screening with Bill Ford and Edsel and all them behind them. And John said, "What do you think, Gail?" He said, "Too much chlor and not enough Halderman."
In front of the Ford family, that he told me that. Good guy. But that's why you're here today, and we're all here today, the magic of this car, and why we do the podcast. And we know, unlike somebody who owns a Kia Soul, we have 122 years of innovation and heritage. Your Mustang means something. It's not, a pet rock. It's going to be, and it'll be here for the next 122 years because of you and all of you. So we have to thank you for that, and we'll continue to bring our stories to light because what makes Ford better than everybody else? You're cooler than everybody else. You have a Ford.
That's right.
Thanks for that question. That deserves a prize. Any other questions here? We're coming up on the witching hour. We want to get a few more in here. Oh, here we go. Go ahead.
Hey, I don't really have a question, but I saw you in Pittsburgh last year at the last show, and you told me to come up and tell my story.
I remember you.
Yeah,
yes.
So I was 18 years old when the S197 dropped, getting ready to go into the military. I was broke, and I said, if I ever get some money, I'm going to get a Mustang, right?
Yep.
So I've owned a lot of cars. I've owned Falcons. I've owned Thunderbirds. I've raced Crown Victorias. And the response, I've owned my S197 now for about 8 years. I have a I have a 2005 GT. Can't miss it. It's got a 27 on the door. It's built to go around cones. And I autocross it. I drive it. Last year was my first year in Woodward with the car.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, as a Mustang owner, the reception has been crazy. I've eaten lunch with guys from Shelby America. I've met Steve Saline. I've met John Clore. I mean, thank you guys. You guys are amazing.
Well, thank you. That was really
yeah.
well. He deserves a prize. Maybe
I'll be
give
a
him
Mustang
both.
owner till the grave, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's
Well,
what this whole thing is all
yeah.
about.
This guy, I've had several Mustangs, including a beautiful fastback that my brother customized by totaling it. But but we both wound up buying S197s.
Yeah.
And I have a 06 convertible that's been modded.
That was the first car I ever ordered new.
Yeah.
2005 Mustang.
Don't
GT.
sit next to him when he fires it up. You can't hear anything.
That's the way mine.
Yeah.
I get,
132 decibels.
Yeah.
I get hate all the time, from some of the Coyote guys because it's a little 3-valve and everything. But the car's been lightened. It's a max effort NA build, and it definitely punches above its
Okay,
weight
so
class. I love it.
Kimmy, he's got to get both prizes at the same time. Raise your hand if anybody in this room, when driving their Mustang, had anybody do this to him.
Yeah.
All right.
All the
How
time.
many with a Kia?
How many, when you drove your Nissan Altima, how many of these did you get? You know why? Nobody cares. You're not an appliance. You're not a transportation device. You're driving one of the coolest cars on the planet. And
you, Mr.
that was a great show over
That was
there.
a great show. I loved it.
Yeah, you guys were a riot. I didn't get out of there till really late. I lost my voice talking to all you guys.
I was happy. They numbered all their poles down at the Ford dealer.
Yeah.
And they parked me next to pole 27, which is my car number, and I have pictures of that. I thought that was funny. Kind of a
Only
random
you
thing.
would have
Yeah,
loved that.
only me.
Thank you much for that.
Thanks, Mr. Corey.
All right, next question.
Here's some trouble.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
He's got a Mustang Owners Podcast shirt. Does he get a special prize? Yeah.
I got it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh, you
she
got one. Okay,
yeah, she
you got
it.
one. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Stuart Earp, North Wilkesboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
And I've known John and Mike for many, many years.
So don't tell us that because.
Yeah. So,
All right.
my question is, do you know what YMR stands for?
All right. Anybody in here know what YMR stands for? Anybody? Mike, what does YMR stand for?
Yellow Mustang Registry.
Wait, Stuart, didn't you have something to do with that?
Yeah. So I was I guess I'd say the third owner of YMR because I bought it from Gary Kahn, who was a member of Moxon back in the day. YMR started in 2001. It was the first club for all colors.
Yeah, the color registry started with you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we started that, and then other registries came off of that.
Yeah.
The Red Mustang Registry.
Oh, they're one year at
everywhere
Carlisle,
now.
I think there were 6 or 7 color registries.
Yeah,
And we hosted the color war in Dearborn one year, the Reds against the
Yeah, you were
Yellows.
at World Headquarters. We did a color wars, remember?
Yep.
Yeah, so YMR, I got to tell everyone a story about this guy. He wanted Ford to speak at one of the YMR rallies. Was it at Mustang Week? Yeah, I think it was. No, it was down there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was at Mustang.
So he rents a restaurant that had the top floor. The problem was it was just a balcony floor with the opening in the middle. And I had to give a presentation, and the only place I could shoot my projector was against the bar wall, which was a mirror. So my wife ran to Walmart and got a sheet. We put it up there. Difficult presentation, thank you. But it's the only presentation that Ford, at the time I was Ford Racing, we ever did on Mustang history with tiny little squares from the Walmart folders. I didn't have an iron. I looked like a pixelated show from a football stadium. But you're awesome. Thank you for starting that color war.
Yeah, it was great. And for all the clubs that's here now.
Yeah.
We have Carlisle does the coolest club award. We started that. YMR started that. I mentioned it. Rick Marco used to be over there.
Yep. He's here this weekend.
Rick's on the grounds, yeah.
We're going to get Hannah Evans to help out on the Coolest Club Hangout Award. It's been an honor to be able to pick the Coolest Club Hangouts.
And I believe this year, for the first time, they're going to add a second and third place.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah, so 3 clubs will be getting some awards today.
Yeah. So.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Let's hear it for Mr. Earp. Great job.
you.
Next question.
So, Ben Nero from New Hampshire Muscle Car Clubs and drove down here. Just a real quick story, I hope. As a guy that should have been a Chevy guy, trailing my
A Chevy guy?
I should have been. Hold on. Don't hurt me yet. Trailing my father behind at a Chevy National show in the 80s. He had restored a 1947 Chevy Woody Fleetmaster wagon.
Yep.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to see a picture of my car, if you will.
Most of the people in this room, Ben,
Yes, sir.
instead of showing you pictures of their grandchildren or their kids, they show you a picture of their Mustang.
Oh yeah, and that's where I went next. So as a kid growing up, there was a 500 KR on the muscle car group, and I fell in love right there. 8 years old, walking down the street, 65 fastback, black, just I had to have it. So that became the dream. 1995, my father passed away. If I had gotten a 3.0, I would have got a 5.0 in college in 94. He died in 95. I was able to get a 95, SN95. Excuse me. And then I said, I'm going to have a 65, a 95, and now thanks to Mike, I'm going to have a 25 RTR Stage 2. So
Awesome.
my point or question is, Gen 1, whatever I am in the SN95s, and now these hypercars almost. I mean, we went from, my sticker was 21.9, and now the newer one is not. But I mean, talk a little bit, just maybe say a couple of words about the different generations. What you guys liked.
That's you.
Well, I mean, let's face it. When Mustang came out, I know a lot of you are buying new Mustangs, and it's called a muscle car, but it wasn't when it came out. Hal Sperlich's idea to create a car for young people, he said, you can get an old person to buy a young person's car, but you can't get a young person to buy an old person's car. And the problem is we had a very nice car, the Falcon Sprint, but it was a Falcon. Your grandmother had one. Nothing against your grandmother, but it smelled like flowers in there. I don't know. No. But they were so smart, and Gail Halderman's beautiful design to put an affordable car platform underneath there and put a beautiful car on the outside and make it affordable. That was Mustang's magic, the fast, fun, and affordable. And with the second, as it got bigger and fuel economy became a matter, we made Mustang fit the society with Mustang 2. And, when Mustang 2, it only went 5 years because everybody was going, remember the Euro Lumina, and everybody was Euro this and Euro that? Well, we had a designer, Jack Telnack, who was in Australia and knows the European design. We came out with that car, a slab-sided, wedge-shaped Mustang, and the Fox body might 15 years.
Yeah.
But everything has its time, and even that ran its course, and we were going to end Mustang. It was going to be over, but the people, the passion from the vice presidents at Ford, especially like Neil Ressler and Bob Ruey, who knew what a Mustang was, they weren't going to let it become a front-wheel drive Japanese car, and they stopped that, and thank God for the people like Ken Dabrowski and John Coletti who created the SN95. Bud McGaldy, good friend of the club, great design. Emmeline King, the first black female auto designer in Ford's history, she did the interior in that car. It was an effort of a skunk works to keep Mustang with us, and Art Hyde did a great job on the engineering. And then with SVT coming out with a Cobra version again, the exclamation points, those are awesome. But time again, why did we do S197? Because we wanted people to know. We marketed that car with no badges on it. All of a sudden, there's a Mustang. Hey, it's like a shape of a Coke bottle. It's so iconic. We know what it looks like. Car was super popular. Everybody who had a 65 or 66 bought an 05 or an 06.
Yep.
And then with the newest Mustang, there was a lot of pushback from some of you when S550 came out. It looks like a fist. It looks like a Fusion. It ain't no Fusion, kids. And now with the 650, we're just fitting it to what people want. And Ben, thanks for buying a new one. You're going to love your RTR.
I think we got one more.
One more question.
Sorry, the last. Tom Predwojewski. John.
Tom.
Yeah, that Tom.
You send emails to clubhub@ford.com.
I have, and you guys were very gracious. So it's on the record. Tom Predwojewski with Northwest Vintage Thunderbird Club came out from Washington State. So thank you for making me feel at home with all the rain.
Yeah.
You guys were able to answer one of my questions. I sent it into the mailbag.
Yeah.
And my question specifically was, trying to get some of we're not an orphan car, but we're an orphan model from Ford, along with other Galaxy and Falcon, Marauder, and all the other folks. But so the question was how to get these orphan models out into the public, and you said to reach out to dealerships on there. Well, I did, and I got crickets.
Yeah.
Especially from people around the Portland area. So I was wondering, has there been any outreach from Club Hub or Ford Performance of maybe putting like a little kiosk or something inside the dealerships? They don't have to man it. It's just informational stuff, because like you said, the Ford models, you buy a Ford, but you're actually joining a family.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, you have that longevity. And I think, people coming into Ford dealerships have a history with them. And if they're able to see that there's other groups out there that they could be involved with, that was my question. Has there been any kind of outreach between Ford Performance and dealerships?
Yeah, Tom, and thank you for that. If you've been listening to the Mustang Owners podcast, we will do a mailbag version. We get so much input from clubhub@ford.com. Remember we answered that question, Mike? We talked about that, the dealerships. What's happened, folks, is when Mustang first came out in the 60s, Ford Motor Company created the Council of Mustang Clubs, a national council, and we did it through dealerships back then. And we patterned it after the Thunderbird clubs because they were the first group of Ford owners to have go to the country club or go on picnics. And that's what happened with Mustang. But Ford realized something. After a couple of years, we ran it. We had councils all across the country. And we realized something, that Mustang people, once they got their car, they wanted to do other things. And we were developing a program for them. That wasn't what they wanted to do. They didn't want to do that many picnics. They want to do some other things. Then we created Mustang Rally for them. And those of you who know Mustang history will know about that. So the dealerships played a big role in that. And the reason why they were interested, because people were in their dealerships to buy Mustang. Today, you're a second and third generation down from a lot of these original dealers that did Mustang. So when we said that, know this, not every Ford dealer is an enthusiast dealer. When we did SVT, we had 4,000 dealers. I think we had 1,500 or 1,800 SVT dealers. We had to go train them to understand this enthusiast customer. So you won't get that response from every dealer. And when you don't get it from a dealer, there's other places you can get. There's consignment places. There are the libraries. There, your Chamber of Commerce. Everybody loves great classic cars. There's no bigger time in the history of America, Mike, than cruise-ins.
Yeah, I got an idea that I'll share with the new Ford person that's with us today is kind of working somewhere along those lines on things. When I was with Roush, what we did is we put a postcard inside the glove box for the new owner when they got it. If they filled it out and sent the information back to Roush, they got a free year in the Roush Road Crew. And that's where we got the information to see if they wanted to do that. So that might be something Ford might be able to touch with the dealerships, put it in every Mustang delivery packet or within the car or something like that to gather something like that. But let's run that up the chain with the people who are in that program.
Now that we have
right
Hannah
now.
Evans, now that Hannah's here,
She's
looking
here in
at
person right now.
we used to put a brochure in in the Mustang Club of America, do a brochure in every car. But what about the rest of you guys?
Yeah.
And the dealership can do more than just putting it. And when you put it in a Mustang, that's a UAW part number. Those are difficult things to get done. But I think and it's not really going to be through Team Mustang because we all here, we have other cars. So maybe Club Connect can do that. Get a system in place where when you go to buy a Ford, hey, are you interested in old cool Fords? Look at all these things that are going on in your neighborhood. Maybe it's one of your cruises, and they can steer them there. That's the ultimate goal. When we first sat down and created this program, we were thinking of setting it up with just 6 councils around big events like Carlisle. And
we're going to break it up in regions.
Yeah. So now that we have a new energy behind it, and Hannah's now on board, I'm looking forward to what we can do to bring that Ford experience to you.
Well, that's right, because Mike, you had mentioned that I think one of your dealership that you had worked with was able to bring Ford Classics into the showroom.
Yeah, correct.
And that was one thing that I was trying to do is, we've got members with cars that are better than brand new.
There's a few of them around us.
That's a great idea.
It's
I know
an
a guy
attraction to get them inside the building. Yes.
I know a guy in Michigan right now. Tapper Ford's having a show, and guess who they wanted to bring in their showroom? Bob Seger's Mustang. Yep. He owns Bob Seger's, and now he's got foot traffic that he never had before. It's that sales pitch. Dealers have to understand classic Fords bring in the crowds. A great question.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I got one last question for everybody in the crowd here. You guys, a lot of you guys have watched or listened to the podcast, correct? Which ones do you enjoy the most? We kind of want to get a poll. Do you enjoy the celebrities that we talk to? Do you enjoy our footage from the events? Which ones, grab you more, if you will?
All right, so if you like the owner interviews, raise your hand. Owner interviews or owner stories, great. If you like celebrity interviews, Ford interviews, raise your hand. Okay. What about the YouTube videos of us showing you events and cars and events? It's about even.
Yeah, it's all about pretty even. Okay.
Okay, well, that really tells us a lot. We're going to go forward and continue to sell and push and ask God for favors to make sure we can take your Mustang story onto YouTube and onto Apple and Spotify and share your Mustang story to the rest of the world. We want to thank you today for coming out for this. How many people enjoyed the live town hall version of the Mustang Owners Podcast? Let's do it again then, damn it.
Thank you guys for helping us make history today for us.
So remember, we want to make sure you get online, either whether it's YouTube or Apple or Spotify. Check us out on the Mustang Owners Podcast. Send anything that you'd like, be a topic or a person we should interview, to clubhub@ford.com, and we'll answer your questions there. Until the next time, we're just going to have to catch you down the road. Good day, everybody.
Thank you.